Hi Bob, my name is Adam Yasui, and my question is, how do you arouse concern in the audience for the protagonist? Is it by making the protagonist empathetic and the center of good, by making the protagonist represent the positive values of life?
Somehow, of course, the protagonist must embody what we call the center of good. Some aspect about that character that we recognize them as a human being, that they share an aspect of our own humanity so that we can identify with them and go into empathy. But there's all kinds of cheap devices in terms of this. In fact, there's a whole book out there in the world today, the title of which is Save the Cat. And from this writer's point of view, the way to create empathy in your protagonist is to have them early in the story do some gratuitous act of kindness toward some poor animal. I mean, literally save a kitten out of a tree, or save some poor person in a wheelchair from being hit by a truck, or to do some act of kindness like that, or great generosity or courage toward somebody who's weak or helpless, and that will automatically have the audience fall in love with such a character. And I suspect that this is just not true. I mean, I can think of all kinds of situations where somebody might act do an act of gratuitous kindness like that, and wouldn't necessarily cause me to empathize with them. On the other hand, great characters, as I mentioned in lecture, like Macbeth or Dr. Lictor in Silence of the Lambs, these characters in many ways are monsters, and they cause great suffering in other human beings, but they have incredible human qualities. The conscience that eats at Macbeth and his guilt-ridden conscience over all the terrible things that he does in order to try to be the king. The brilliant analytical mind and knowledge of Hannibal the Cannibal, his sense of humor, his remarkable calmness living in a hellish situation. These positive qualities inside of what are otherwise very negative qualities draw the audience as they recognize that Macbeth is a human being just like me. He has a conscience. Lictor is the kind of person I wish I could be, that brilliant, that resourceful, that self-controlled and disciplined. And so these positive qualities draw the audience's empathy without them committing acts of gratuitous kindness.